The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I'm Samantha Jones.
And here we are, episode 109.
109.
What is our topic?
This is Crystals 101.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very excited.
There were a lot of people excited about this. Like, in our discussion group, I haven't seen people get as excited over an episode as this one. So
Killer.
Yeah.
Excited. Well, before we hop into it, got anything you want to share from last week?
I do. I have a few things. So first, last week we did the tarot readings and talking about tarot. And there was a girl, Jen, that I did a reading for on there that I said I was really felt drawn to and attracted to. And so I wanted to do her reading first. And she was new to the group.
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
It was a love reading. And I went off of what I got from the cards. And in the cards, it didn't indicate to me if she was in a relationship or not. Yeah. So I just went with that she wasn't.
Okay.
She was married. She is married, but let me read her response.
Okay.
She says, I just finished listening to your tarot podcast and started bawling when you did a reading for me. It's all relevant except that I'm married, but we've been a little rocky over the last couple of weeks, but I have been feeling a pull that things will be and have been getting better. Everything you said resonated completely. Also, I've been asking my higher guidance to help guide me to find a spiritual mentor, and that's exactly what you mentioned. My jaw hit the floor. I feel like I've grown immensely in the spiritual world in the last year and have always felt that it's been or has been calling in previous lifetimes. I would love to have you as a mentor, as I completely believe this was set up by the grand universe. She found us... Wow. She actually lives in Simi Valley.
Oh, wow.
But she did not find us, like, because of something local. She just found us and then heard that we now live in Thousand Oaks and was like, I can't believe that, we're in the same area. But I wanted to talk about this one for a second because this is a great example of how the universe brings you exactly what you need. And this has been happening to us constantly. And this was for both me and Jen, this worked out. Because Jen is a veterinary technician for a mobile vet. And moving out of Simi Valley and into Thousand Oaks, I needed to find a new vet for our dogs. And I wasn't going to go the mobile route again because I didn't think there was anybody out there. And I kept saying to you, okay, I'm going to use this vet hospital and I'm going to make an appointment for Sabbath because he's like 7, I want to do blood work on him and stuff. And I just kept feeling this, like, it's okay, you don't need to do it right now. Don't worry about it right now. And then Jen comes along and works for a mobile vet in Thousand Oaks that services Thousand Oaks.
That's incredible.
This is what happens constantly. Constantly. So it's a win-win for both her and I. And every person that I've met that's been like that, too. Yeah. It seems to be like on both sides that I can help them as well as they can help me.
This has actually been going on for a long time with us. It's kind of funny. I'm sitting in this the studio since we're moving, and it's getting more bare and bare as we're kind of taking stuff out. Yeah. And so memories start coming back, and it's good, because I see what's changed, how much it's grown, how much it's changed. Yeah. But I was thinking about when I first started kind of putting it together here. I don't know how long we had been here. Probably not very long.
Not very long, yeah.
But I started putting it together and going, there's a couple things that I need. And we used to take walks in the morning, and I'm like, I need like a piece of, I don't want to go buy a whole roll of insulation, like that pink itchy stuff. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to go buy a whole roll of it. I just need a little piece, like a couple little pieces. And we were walking around doing our kind of morning walk, and we walked by, and lo and behold, there's 2 little pieces. I thought it was one, but they were rolled up together. Yep. And they were by somebody's trash cans that they had on the side, kind of by their driveway. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I'm going to come by here again tomorrow. If those are still sitting here before trash day, I know that they're trash. And I did. Yep. So I grabbed them. And I was like, that's when they started showing me, and I think both of us, that really you can you can pretty much manifest just about down to the
Yes.
to the dime what it is you really need.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
what you want.
No, what you need.
What you need.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking a little bit about this before we started recording, and we were talking about the Gypsy Brown website and that it needs some updating. And right now I'm doing my website, your websites, for both music and art. And it's a lot, and I really don't want to do it anymore. And so I thought, okay, universe, this is what we need. Like, you've brought us the dog trainer, you brought us the mobile vet, you brought us the cleaning lady, brought us everything that we've asked for. So now I'm asking for somebody to help with the websites. So it could be somebody that's sitting there listening to this right now that has been feeling the pull to reach out to us that hasn't. That's how it seems to work. Our dog trainer, she just felt compelled to reach out, didn't even know that we needed a dog trainer. And she's a dog trainer with animal communication abilities. So these are things that we got off on a tangent here, but this is how it works. And it is amazing when you allow it to work for you like that, but it doesn't just come for no reason. You have to give back. You have to put out good to the universe and do good. And, whether it's for yourself, your family, the community, whoever, that's what brings things to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's incredible.
So I'm excited to get to know Jen more. People are brought into your life for a reason. And so, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. So thanks, Jen, for all that.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's see. And so last week we started with the new thing of doing questions, asking our listeners got to ask a question, and we would answer one per week. And if we used their question, then we would send them free merch. So we have a few questions, but I'm just gonna, like I said, pick one every week. So we will eventually get to all of these. But the one I want to do today is from Sherry, and it says, "What was the most profound message from the other side that you have received so far?" Would you like to start?
Well, there's a lot of profoundness in it all. So, but I think ultimately for me to know that it's real, that there really is life after this, and that it's not just you are who you are.
Yeah.
You're still who you are there. Like, you feel like who you are there. Mm-hmm. But you're just not recognized necessarily by names.
Right.
Per se. So that's probably... And that there's no hell.
Yes.
That was the biggest feeling for me.
That changed you a
It
lot.
changed me. It made me realize there's no bad place.
Yeah.
But it didn't make me feel like I want to go out and do bad things, like that was a license to do bad things. It actually made me want to do the opposite.
Absolutely.
Because I was kind of sharing this with you as an analogy. Take it somebody that's a new parent for the first time. And you have this new baby, and you're on this complete whole different level of like high. Everything is, colors are brighter and sounds are richer and food tastes better, and you have this beautiful life that you're in. It's scary, and there's a lot to it, but the newness of it is so exhilarating. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then that kind of sort of wears off, and that becomes your reality.
Yes.
So it was very similar. Mm-hmm. That first connection and that first spiritual awakening, it was like a high, a honeymoon.
Yeah.
And then it became my reality. It became my responsibility that I did not completely disconnect from it.
Right.
That I always acknowledge it.
Right. Yep.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And so when we get in these signs and numbers and synchronicities, I feel like that's always their way of saying,
yep,
you're seeing it. That's good.
Yep.
You're not disconnecting. Because sometimes we can, in our day-to-day life, get busy.
Right.
Not only physically, but mentally.
Right.
And sometimes I have to stop.
Yeah.
And just go, whoa, yeah, no, that is still very real.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, the most profound message was that I'm 100% in control of my life. Mm-hmm. And that's a scary, scary thing. And I was told that in so many different ways at so many different times. But I'll tell you that I'm just like a kid sometimes when I get messages from my mom that I'm like, no, I'm not doing it, Or I don't believe you. I don't believe you. She probably just is so sick of hearing that. I'm so sick of hearing that. But I've started to look at life as a video game, and we've talked about this a little bit. And a movie. A movie's probably a better analogy, that I'm the main character in my movie. And if I was watching this movie from the outside, how would I want the main character in this movie to proceed? How would I want them to act?
Right.
Everything that happens to me, everything that comes through my brain, I process differently now because I think about how my response will affect others, how I can help people more. Sometimes, I'm still human, obviously, and I get in my moods, but it really does change the way you think when you realize that you are here for a reason and that you have 100% control of that. It just changes everything.
Right.
And that kind of goes along with Jen's thing, which is why I brought it up, because it shows how manifestation works.
Right.
And it shows how possible it is. And you know what? It wasn't easy at first for the manifestation, but once you learn how to do it and once you see how it works, it just becomes, like you said, a part of your everyday life.
Right.
And now it really is that easy. And it.
You know what's incredible? I just heard something, was that when we start to hold ourselves accountable for our actions in our life, you'll see a difference.
Oh, yes.
When you're expecting someone else to hold you accountable for your life, you're not going to see that much of a difference.
That's right.
So if you're waiting for a teacher or a boss or a wife or a best friend or somebody to smack you upside of the head and tell you, get it together, whatever, you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
You have to want to do it for you, because the truth is you're the only one that's going to hold yourself accountable.
That's right.
In the end.
That's hard for people to swallow.
When you go to the other side, it's not bowing down in front of some condemning God. It's not like that.
No.
It's like
love.
You're going to want to be the best you, because that's what we are in our natural form.
Right.
We want to be the best us, especially when we're there.
Yes.
When we start taking that accountability here, then life starts to change.
That's exactly right. I could sit here and I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but looking at those couple of things like what we mentioned, they do help you completely change your outlook and have been profound messages.
Right. Because you know what I mean? Like, you feel like when you were younger and you, ooh, man, so if I do this and I get away with it, then there's no accountability on my part, and it's like no big deal.
Right.
It's when your conscious then starts to get to you and you start to hear yourself in this process. That's what's happened to me.
Yes.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do some of the things I've done.
Right.
Okay? I don't want to go back.
No.
I don't need to live in the past, because that's not me. Each one of us can change our path right now, tomorrow, a week from now, whenever.
That's right. We absolutely can. Yep. All right.
All right.
Yeah, we could literally go on that. So let's just move on, because so one more thing before we get into the crystals episode is that I have a mentor student, Charlie, and his fiance, Chanel. They sent us a housewarming present, which is candle. They have a candle company. And I just wanted to kind of promote their business. They're just getting started. The name of their company is C&C Candles, and they make organic candles. They're like, soy.
They're nice.
Oh, and they're beautiful. Like the one that she sent us, it has like wax cactus on the top of it. I don't even know how to explain it. It's really cool. And they just released banana pudding scent. Oh yeah, I love banana anything. So I was like, the day that they released that, I was like, order. So I just wanted to promote them a little bit and say thank you for
the candle.
For the candle. Yeah, absolutely. So you can find them on the web cccandles.org, and that's C&C Candles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
All right. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Episode 109, Crystals 101.
crystals. This is a great topic, and it's something that we have been talking about doing for a long time, but we just recently kind of got into crystals more. And so I felt like now we have like a little bit more of a basis that we can talk about it. We haven't brought in a guest yet, but hopefully when we get the new studio up and built, we'll be able to have, guests there. So we're just going to do a basic crystals 101 and talk about it a little bit.
Awesome.
Okay. So first of all, what are crystals? They're a special kind of solid matter where molecules fit together in a repeating pattern. This pattern causes the mineral to form all sorts of unique shapes. They are not just rocks. Crystals often form when liquid rock called magma cools. As it cools slowly, crystals may form. Many valuable crystals like diamonds, rubies, emeralds form this way. Salt crystals form when salt water evaporates. So there's a lot of different kinds of crystals, and we're going to talk about a few different kinds. I asked our listeners if they own crystals, and 92% said that they do.
Cool.
That's a pretty high number. I like that.
Yeah.
I love crystals as a decoration, as a tool. There's so many different reasons why.
Well, I think just for their pure sake that they exist and kind of amazement of the different colors.
Yeah.
Probably the most amazing part about them is that we don't expect rocks, what we consider rocks.
Right.
And they're not rocks.
They're not rocks, yeah.
To look like this.
Yes.
Because from the outside, most of the time they don't.
Right.
Because what's happening is on the inside.
It's on the inside, yeah.
But when I started learning about their value and their abilities, then that became way more intriguing.
Absolutely, yeah. So crystals are used for more things than just, what we're talking about today. They are used in watches. The first radios invented used crystals to transmit the radio waves.
I believe televisions.
Yes, LCD, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Liquid crystal. Yeah. Yeah, that uses crystals too. Let's see. But a lot of crystals that we see today are also man-made in labs. So in order to really get the like earth stuff, what would you explain it? Like the benefits of the crystals, they can't be fake.
No.
They got to be genuine and real.
Right.
Natural crystals are dug out of the ground where the Earth's temperature and pressure causes them to form. There are many different types of crystals, each filled with their own healing abilities for the mind, body, and soul. They are thought to promote the flow of good energy for physical and emotional benefits. I want to talk about something before we move on. I have a hard time with religion for one reason, and it's because they have a lot of rules. And one of the rules with a lot of religions is that they don't like crystals.
Right.
And they don't like crystals for a lot of reasons, but one of them is because you're using something that isn't, I don't even know how to put it. You're using something supernatural to help
do
yourself.
God's work?
Yes. I was trying to put it in a way that it wasn't the actual thing. But yes, that's it, is that people are against it, but it's actually put here by God. So it's created by God. Yeah. Anything that we need, here's the big picture of it. Everything that we need to survive is here.
Yep.
Everything, including medicine, which a lot of times can come from crystals. Now, I'm not saying that today's diseases can maybe cured with all these things, but naturally, if yes, these are here by God. They're God-given.
We're one giant ecosystem. Everything we need's here.
Right. So saying that they're, a cult or whatever, I don't get that. Because those same people will go and use medication that is laboratory made. And a lot of people say, like I have heard, well, you're not supposed to idolize something. I'm not idolizing a crystal. I'm using it as a healing property. For its reason it's here. Right. So if you want to put that on the same level with something, then you better look at the medication the same way. Because it may not do exactly the same thing, but it's, you're putting two of the same things. I totally understand that medication is necessary in a lot of situations. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we were given these brains that have evolved for a reason, so we could help take care of ourselves. But part of that, too, was to remember your surroundings. Right. And that you're living in a world that has everything you need. And I say everything, I mean,
There's no need for nuclear power.
No.
There's absolutely no need for it whatsoever. Mm-mm. All we're doing is destroying it with the toxic waste that we create by making it.
Absolutely.
There is stuff here that hasn't even been discovered that will do 100 times better than nuclear power.
Right.
And it won't damage the planet.
Psychedelics. People are starting
That
to
too.
use psychedelics to treat depression, to treat anxiety, and microdosing. Marijuana. The people want to argue with this, yet they want to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
You got to look at these things. Everything that we need is provided right here for us by the earth. Everything else is secondary. So I didn't want to get off on a tangent on that, but I have a hard time with it. And I say that because of personal experience, because I was really big into metaphysical stuff and crystals especially in, like, I'm going to say 2000, 2001, before 9/11. After 9/11 happened, I kind of panicked and thought I needed to find religion. I remember one of the very first times I went to church, they talked about this. They talked about crystals. And I was like, so wait, I can't have both. I can't have religion and crystals. So I gave up the crystals.
Right.
But why?
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And you know what? We have a beautiful display cabinet full of crystals that we don't really use for, like, their healing properties, but they're just gorgeous to look at.
Right.
So you can use them however you want, but they're definitely not occult products or something to be ashamed of,
No, I mean, they're just part of God's beauty.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
me, but you know what? I have used them. I have carried them around. I have,
Right.
I'm very intrigued by it. Not just because of today's knowledge of crystals, but the history. And that there are so many different things. Noah's staff.
Yeah.
When he was
yeah.
taking them out of exile to cross the Red Sea. He had a crystal on his staff, that lit up. They have energetic powers if you, A, believe, and you, B, connect with this thing, right?
Use it correctly, yeah.
You have to, and I don't know anything much about that, but there's also the 13 skulls that have been around for centuries, I believe. And when together, they will create, they will help the world.
Right.
But they've all been separated. Some are accounted for and owned by certain people, and some they don't know where they're at.
Right. The Bible is actually full of instances of using crystals. It's just badly translated.
It is. And so that part about it, for me, becomes even more like, wow, okay, so we've passed up all this natural energy that's right here to do all these other things with our minds, which isn't necessarily bad, but, is it really all 100% good, too? Right. And good for us and good for our world? I don't think so.
Right, for sure.
But I think that when it's made from the same thing that made us, then I would go with that first, I think.
Yeah.
And I can't say that that's going to heal every single ailment or every problem in the world.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's,
And then Dolores gets into, other worlds.
Right, absolutely.
Other species. Yeah. And why do these ships that they fly, why can't we hear them?
Right.
Why do they make no sound? They have no engine.
Because they use crystals.
They're flown organically.
Right.
Yes. They cause no pollution, no waste. Right. It's flown with crystals.
Right. Exactly. So I asked our discussion group, do you believe crystals have healing powers? And about 80%, 85% said yes, they do. A few said maybe, a few said I'm not sure, and one said no. So I asked a deeper question, and let me find it here for you. Okay, I asked them, if a doctor told you that your anxiety let me start again. If a doctor told you that for your anxiety you could take a laboratory man-made medication like Valium or Ativan, or work with crystals that come from the earth and obtain the same results, which one would you try first? And all but 2 people said that they would try the crystals first. One said I would try medication first, and one said I wouldn't use either. When I wrote this question, it was the first thing that came to my mind was anxiety, because I think a lot of people suffer from that. And I wasn't trying to say anything negative, so I hope that nobody took that as like I was trying to put them down if they have anxiety. I have anxiety. I don't take medications for my anxiety because I saw what they did to several family members, and it scares me. So I would definitely try crystals first. I deal with my anxiety naturally. You know, not everybody can do that.
Right.
But if a doctor said to me, try this natural solution, I would absolutely try it. There's nothing, in my opinion, wrong with that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But one of the things that we seem to forget is the placebo effect. And a lot of times when you think something's working is it's working because you think it's working.
Yep.
So just believing that crystals will help you can make them help you.
Yes.
Yep.
And the placebo effect does sort of prove that.
Yes.
And it's used in a lot of clinical trials.
It absolutely is. And you know what? With my grandmother, I even tried a few times to test her, like by telling her I gave her anxiety medication when I didn't, to see what would happen. And in her younger years, you could tell that it was a lot of the placebo effect. But what happens is then your body becomes reliant on that, and that changes things.
Right.
So you need that. So it's always good if you can, do something naturally, but not everything can be cured naturally.
Right.
Or at least not that we know of at this point.
Right.
So let's talk about what the most common crystals are. There are so many crystals that we would have to sit here and do like 10 episodes to talk about them all. So I asked our discussion group what crystals they wanted to talk about, and then I took their suggestions, and so that's what we're going to talk about.
Cool.
So number 1 was quartz, and that is the most common type of crystal. It's found in dozens of color variations. It's known for being one of the most healing crystals in the mineral kingdom. It is called the universal crystal because it's beneficial for manifestation, healing, meditation, protection, and channeling. And quartz, like I said, it's found in watches. It's one of those crystals that's widely used.
Yeah.
Very common. You can find it in lots and lots of different colors.
Right.
Then there's amethyst, which is one of the top most common as well. Amethyst is a purple stone. It's said to be incredibly healing, protective, and purifying. It can help rid the mind of negative thoughts. It improves sleep, helps balance hormones, and relieve pain. Let's see, number 3. I love this one. If I mess up how to say this, citrine, I think is how it's pronounced. This is a yellow crystal. And I absolutely love this one. I'm really drawn to it. It's one of the most popular and searched on the internet. It's naturally formed as smoky quartz. So we had talked about there's several different colors of that. So it starts as smoky quartz, and that is then heated within the earth to make a beautiful yellow crystal. It is said to help release negative traits from your life like fear and in turn encourage optimism, warmth, motivation, and clarity. If you go into my office, the most common crystals that you're going to find in there are rose quartz and citrine. I love this crystal. I'm just so attracted to it. I have a necklace. I really believe in the properties that it says that it brings. When I wear my citrine necklace, it does. It makes me feel good. Cool. I feel it. Selenite. Selenite is a very interesting crystal, and I actually learned a lot on this because Chris, one of our listeners, asked us to point out the difference between selenite and satin spar. Okay. Well, so I didn't really know this, but we have what we call selenite at home, a lot of it. Those long stick things.
Right,
remember?
we call it kryptonite.
Yeah, we call it kryptonite because that's what it looks like, and it almost feels like it's going to, like, splinter you. It's weird.
Yeah, it's so weird.
But
it's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
And it's not see-through, but it's got this clearness about it.
Uh-huh, exactly. But that is actually called satin spar. But it is a form of selenite.
Okay.
So that's more common. Actual real selenite is rare. It's hard to come by. but it does fit in here. So if you have what you consider to be selenite, it probably is this satin spar. I would look it up because I was even shocked. I was like, what?
Right.
I had no idea. Because I get like this mystery box once a month of different crystals. And this month, a huge piece of the satin spar came in it. And it says selenite. So
that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, so what is selenite? It is a calming stone that cleanses the home and repels negative energy. They cleanse themselves and can cleanse and charge other crystals.
Nice.
Found naturally deep in the caves of Mexico, Morocco, and Madagascar. They are raw formations that can be up to 35 feet long. Selenite is mostly transparent and colorless.
Yeah.
So this is a great stone to have if you have other crystals, and we're going to talk later about cleansing your crystals, but this is one that can cleanse your crystals for you, and you don't have to do it yourself because it's self-cleansing.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. Black tourmaline. I'm actually wearing my black tourmaline necklace. Amy told me to get black tourmaline, and I'm going to read you a little bit about why. It is one of the best stones for energetic clearing and one of the most powerful grounding, purification, and protective stones. When you're a psychic and you work with energy and other people's energy, you need to constantly be grounded and remind yourself of being grounded and cleanse yourself. And so this crystal helps me with that. So let's see.
And it's pretty.
It's very pretty. I love it. It's useful for people experiencing high levels of stress. Black tourmaline is very deep black in color and looks like someone took a sledgehammer to a volcano. Formed where steamy waters and minerals move through pockets of the earth, it's deeply enriched with iron and magnesium. Mm-hmm. And I was just feeling mine, and it is really rough. I didn't even really realize that. And then there's a very similar stone, Obsidian, which is also a black stone. It's a protective stone that forms a shield against negativity, blocks psychic attacks, brings clarity, stimulates growth, and it can be found in black, silver, or brown. And that's another very common crystal.
It's kind of funny, like when you think about sort of just even the metaphor about crystals and their existence. That all this is going on under our feet, hundreds of miles below us.
Yep.
And we don't have a clue the amount of pressure and resistance and tug and pull and all this that's happening. But this beautiful stone comes out of something that seems so volatile. I feel like it speaks such a message that even amongst all the chaos, there's still beauty.
Yeah.
I
would love to go someplace where, like, it's just a natural crystal cave, Oh, my gosh, I can't imagine what the energy in something like that would be.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool.
That's why I was kind of hoping with the case we could get some of that. I go over there now and then and just stand in front of it and try to feel,
Yeah, there's a lot of crystals in there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rose quartz. So this is a form of quartz, but it's very, very, very popular on its own as rose quartz. It's a pink variety of quartz. It's the stone of universal love. It restores trust and harmony in relationships. It repels negativity, protects against environmental pollution, and encourages forgiveness and acceptance. And this is one of my favorites. I love pink, and so I have a lot of this one. Yeah. But it feels good too. Like you'll notice if you start, like if you go into a crystal shop and like pick things up or look at things, there will be different crystals that you're just naturally attracted to, and those are the ones that you should go for.
Yeah.
Why you're attracted to them, you may not know until you get them home, start doing some research on them.
Yeah.
The last one that I wanted to talk about, because we had mentioned it in a few episodes, is Moldavite. Moldavite is not a very common stone, but it is very, very popular right now. Everybody wants Moldavite.
Yeah.
It is a forest or olive green silica rock formed by a meteorite impact. This happened 15 million years ago in Germany. And then when the impact happened, it spread this Moldavite. It's only found in the Czech Republic, Austria, and Germany. Those are the only places it can be found because that's where the meteorite landed. So a lot of people say this is an alien rock, which is really cool. And I have a piece of it. I have a piece of
it's
real
so cool. The color, everything.
It's beautiful.
Killer.
Just be careful if you go to buy Moldavite that you buy the real stuff.
Yeah, not a glass bottle.
It took me a while to find somebody that I could really trust to buy the Moldavite for, because if you go on like Etsy, and I'm not putting anybody down that sells this, but if you go on Etsy, there's so many people selling Moldavite, and it's only in 3 places in the world. It's not that easy to come by.
Yeah.
There are ways to tell the difference. I just not experienced enough, so I wanted to find somebody that I knew that, but if you see like a big chunk of Moldavite for $20, it's fake.
Yeah.
I have a small one. Smaller than the size of my thumb.
Yeah.
Maybe the size of my pinky toe, and it cost me $80. So there's a good,
Yeah.
So if you, and be careful if you're going to spend that kind of money on it, make sure it's real. Let's see. So Moldavite, why it's so popular? Well, it's believed to bring on major change and transformation, like spiritual awakening. So I don't know how this works, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that before they go through a spiritual awakening, they're like searching for something, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe this is a good stone to try to push you into that spiritual awakening if you haven't had one yet. Right. I wore my Moldavite necklace. I've probably worn it 5 or 6 times. At first, it made me nervous. It made me jittery because it holds a lot of energy in it. But then after I got used to it, like now it doesn't bother me. I've been through a spiritual awakening. I feel like I go through that every day. So it's, do I feel like it's transformed my life? No, because my life was already transforming. But I do feel the properties of it. I do feel when I wear it that it has this magnetism to it. It makes me feel more spiritual for some reason. Maybe that's the placebo effect. I don't know. Yeah. But I recommend that, I'm going to tell you a quick story about Moldavite. Mm-hmm. So I have there's another listener, Dustin, and I talked to Dustin a lot. I can't remember if I've done mentor work for him, but I've done readings for him. Anyways, he messaged me a couple of weeks ago, and he said that every time that he would get into a public situation, that he would get nauseous and feel dizzy and uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't know why. He was grounding and meditating, and he just didn't know why. And I was like, man, I don't really know. Like, what would be the reason that you would feel that? I mean, it's people's energy, obviously, but if you're grounding and all that, then why would you feel that? He remembered then a couple of days later that he was wearing Moldavite. And he stopped wearing the Moldavite, and that stopped happening. Right. So it's a high energy attractor. So I would definitely recommend to start slowly with it and pay attention to it. It is one of those that I've just found that it has high energy. Yeah. So, but it's beautiful. Okay, so let's see. So crystals come in many different shapes and sizes, and there are smooth ones and there are rough ones, and they do, like, before they sell them, obviously, they make them into hearts, they make them into skulls. There's a lot of different things that you can do. As long as it's a real stone, it's going to work for you. Yeah. So that's really the main thing. We have a little bit of everything. We both have the skulls. I really like wands. They're like long, like, but I have ones that are like different stones in one long wand. I love those. There's palm stones that are like, I call them worry stones because they feel like a palm, and there's like an indention in the middle. Yeah. And if you put your thumb in that indention, and that you get that kind of the properties from the crystal that way.
You gave me that. Did it come in the box? That like big long 10-inch?
Oh yeah, it was like shaped like a knife.
Yeah, yeah. It's kryptonite. We call it whatever.
Yes, the selenite. Yeah. That's another one. It also egg shapes and spheres, crystal balls. Mm-hmm. You can get crystal balls in pretty much any kind of stone. Mm-hmm. Any crystal that you want. We have a clear quartz one, but I've seen some one that I just love.
In amber and purple.
Oh yeah. I'd like to get some more of those. We had talked a little bit about cleansing and charging crystals. I had mentioned that. So what is that, and why is it important? Well, what is it with crystals? They absorb energy, right? They take the negative energy. So like, for example, my black tourmaline here that I'm wearing, it may repel the negative energy, but it also absorbs it. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm wearing this every day, I'm just putting that negative energy back on my neck after a while because it's kind of, let's just say, full, right? So it has to be cleansed.
It's like your laundry, like the clothes you wear.
Yeah. Exactly. It holds your energy, and so you have to cleanse it. Mm-hmm. So since crystals come from the earth, they work on vibration. So they absorb energies, like I was saying, as well as release it. It's important to remove any built up energy. So how do we do that? Well, the first way is water. Natural areas of water, like from rain, streams. I actually started at one point collecting rainwater. It's hard here in California. We don't have a lot of rain. So, but if you can do that, collect yourself a little bit of rainwater, you can cleanse your crystals in those. Yeah. You can also de-energize your house that way, like how people sage. Right. You can take the rainwater, put it in a spray bottle, and just spray it around your house.
I think it's actually illegal to collect rainwater.
It is, but, well, here in California, right. Not everywhere.
We just want a cup, man.
I don't think that somebody's going to come arrest me for, I would hope they wouldn't come arrest me for a cup of water, cup of rainwater. So that's a good way. Or you can, if you go to the beach, go to the ocean, that would be a pretty cool way. It's not like putting them in, like, here's a good example. Like, let's say that you go to a stream, okay? And you can take with you your crystals and like a little colander, put your crystals in, and then something to scoop the water out of. You don't want to put them directly into the stream because you might lose them. Right. So you want to scoop the water up and then dump it over the colander full of crystals and let it drain, and it gets rid of the energy that way. So yeah, any kind of stream, ocean, anything like that, natural, neutralizes the negative energy. But there's some that you cannot use this on. Don't use this on selenite, or like what we were talking about, because that can kind of ruin it. So if you're going to use water as your source, I would probably Google like which ones it's
check
not.
each one first.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Don't use cleaners.
No,
like Windex and stuff like that.
Yeah. We mentioned selenite, that it can be used as a cleanser for your crystals as it is. So this is great because like we have a lot of it, and so we can put it's in the cabinet there. That cleanses the crystals. Laying it next to the other crystals, or laying it on top of, or putting the crystals on top of it, any which way, that will cleanse the crystals for you. This is one of our favorite ways, is moonlight. During a full moon. What we do is we collect all of our crystals. Well, now it's going to be hard. But we used to collect all of our crystals, and then we would put them in trays and put them outside in the moonlight, and then bring them in the morning. Right. And that's just it. It cleanses and charges. Yeah.
Actually, they're still in a clear case with glass, so you just keep those blinds open right there.
Yeah, it should work just fine. And but the other ones, we put outside. Yeah. It's a cool kind of ritual for us too, I think, when we remember to do it. Another way is smudging. And what smudging is sage, or anything that you want to use. Like I use lavender spray, like room spray. As long as it's natural, it will de-energize those things. So you can take your crystals and just spray them. That's another way that we can do it. It's just spray them, or take your sage and just, like you would to cleanse your home, just wave it over your crystals, and that will help.
Right, or if you have like a natural kind of incense.
Right, exactly. When should you do this is another question. Well, it depends on how much you use the certain crystals. Like I should probably cleanse this black tourmaline more often than I do, because I think the last time we put them out for the full moon was the last time I did. So don't forget your necklaces, your jewelry, whatever you have. Like you wear the lava bracelet, but that still has beads and absorbs your energy. So you put it out with the full moon. So all of those things, if you miss it, if you can't do it on the full moon, you can do it the day before, you can do it the day after. It's still similar. Right. You can even charge with the sun similarly. All of these things are natural energy cleansers. Let's see. The crystals that are on your shelves and stuff, you should cleanse every few months. It's not that important because they're not really collecting your energy. So it's just, varies from whatever kind of crystals you have. Right. But more often for the stuff that's used more often. So that's actually my crystals. I thought I was going to have a lot more stuff for you, so I stopped there. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to get... Because there's so much stuff when it comes to crystals that we could just go on, and there's so many different types. And I'm like, I don't even know. I'm going to be going over. But I really do think that I'd like to do a part 2 of this at some point. I would really love to get somebody in to talk about crystals that knows what they're talking about. Right. Because reading from, the notes that I've done. Oh, and I did want to give credit to charmsoflight.com. If you want to know about crystals, certain crystals, you can go on that website, and there's a spot there where you can look up any crystal, and it tells you like which chakra it goes with, because every crystal is also related to a chakra. Okay, I didn't even get into that because I thought that's a lot. Then we got to talk about chakras and all that.
Right.
But on this website, you can find those things. So, but yeah, I would love to get somebody in here to talk to us about crystals and really go in depth more. And, we're experimenting more and more with them. And,
right.
and like Amy told me to put selenite, the satin spar kryptonite, by the windows. And then it repels the negative energy from even entering your home. And so that's what I've done. If you look, almost every window has a little piece of selenite in it.
That's cool.
So these are things that like we're learning over time,
right.
and but still it's new.
Right.
It's
fun though. I just find it totally intriguing, and the more that I find that, I think they were way more a part of our society. Not think, I know they were way more a part of our society. Besides this generation or era or whatever you want, this modern time,
right?
They've been prominent in culture and many cultures, and they still are, but their real kind of true abilities, I don't think have come forth totally yet. Again,
right.
I think it's this process of like kind of the age of enlightenment. We're getting back to some of this stuff and realizing,
maybe this is beneficial.
I think if they were, more of like, I think that, space travel and finding other places potentially for us to go is not a bad idea if we can learn to not pollute.
Right.
And crystals would allow us to do that. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's so many things that we don't even realize that crystals can be used for. We tend to forget that this planet is like billions of years old, and we're just here for a very, very, very short time.
Yeah.
And as far back as like records go, we don't really have that much history. Like we have a few thousand years. Other than that, there's very little known about the history of this planet. So it's very, very naive of us to think that we know what we're talking about when it comes to this kind of stuff, because we don't.
No.
Yeah. I truly believe that crystals were used. They're used by aliens for, stuff like that. But I also believe that they were highly used as other sources of energy. The Egyptians used them.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely believe that those pyramids were energy creators,
right?
By the combination of their structure, the way they were built in conjunction with crystals,
right?
So they were energy generators, creators. They were healing vessels,
right?
Whatever that is, or structures.
Yeah.
And that even prior to them, which they learned from, was Atlantis.
Yes.
And that Atlantis had very high technological stuff going on.
They sure did.
And it wasn't powered by fossil fuels.
Yeah. No. Not at all.
Okay. And it wasn't polluting anything.
Yeah. You have to think about, like, we don't know anything. We should do an episode on Atlantis. We don't know anything about it because it's under the sea. You know what I mean? Like, we just see what we see. But just imagine if, like, our civilization was wiped out, and then however many thousands of years later they start finding things.
Right.
They're not going to understand what they're finding, because if we're wiped out, it's totally different technology. So we're thinking along the lines of today instead of thinking, well, wow, maybe what did they use this for? Like the pyramids are a great example. Like everybody thinks that those are a tomb. Those aren't a tomb. They never once found a body in a pyramid. Those were used for energy, most likely. And they probably worked off of a crystal or crystals. So, but we want to take what we think is right instead of really actually looking at what's possible.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more advancement left to do if we could do more of that.
Yeah, very narrow-minded. That's something that I love about about this. It opens your mind to different things. It's like, wow, you question everything and you start to search instead of just, knocking everything down because it sounds like you're not supposed to like that or it's wrong or whatever, but having your own mind and,
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah. So sometimes I get these messages of like what to talk about.
Yep.
And I heard, well, if you want to tell somebody where to start, where do they start? What first crystal should they go by? I don't think that there is like necessarily an answer for that. I think that it's about what you're attracted to, and that if you go into a crystal store and there's some crystal we didn't talk about today that you've never heard of, and that's the one that draws you in, then you take it. I have a green crystal that I meant to look up that I got at the very beginning of the spiritual journey. And I used to actually put it in my bra because it felt so good to me. I don't even know what kind of stone it is. It just attracted me in the store, and I bought it and I carried it with me. And it did. They just have this way of helping you. So if you're attracted to it, I say go for it. Like I said, I would stay away from the Moldavite unless you're ready for, an intense stone. Probably the quartz and like rose quartz are good because those are kind of, basic overall protectors. And then, of course, the satin spar, the selenite, I would say, is another place to start. I had mentioned, too, that I get the monthly box. It's like a mystery box, and it has really cool stuff in it. Like sometimes it has incense. A lot of times it has jewelry, a lot of crystals. I have got so many beautiful crystals out of this box that I can't wait for it to come every month because I wouldn't even find these in a store. And I think the box is like $35. And for the amount of crystals that I have, they would have been way more expensive in the stores. So this is called Mindful Soul. You can find it, Google it or whatever. And then it's a monthly subscription box. And I highly recommend it if this is something that you're into, that might be a good place to start. Is just start getting these boxes. It comes with a description of everything that's in the box. So if there's a crystal in there, it'll tell you what it's for. They even send, like, we have a crystal now, I don't know if you noticed it, it's shaped like a turtle. Yeah. That came from the box. Yeah. So there's all kinds of different things that come in.
They have an explanation whether you're looking at it online or you go into a crystal store. They'll usually have it taped right there what it's for, Yeah. So if there's something you're asking what I should get first, well, maybe ask yourself, what is it in you that you want to work on?
Yeah. Yep.
So if it's fear or anxiety, or if it's confidence, or, just calming, then go read up on what crystals are suggested for that.
Yes.
And start with that one.
And like you said, most crystal shops will have a little description there right for you. So you can see, too. I started doing that with, like, physical stuff. I was having a lot of tooth problems, and so I started, like, figuring out what's good for the tooth. You can even, like, saltwater rinses. You can, if you have a crystal that's not going to be affected, that it'll actually be good for the salt water, which a lot of them are. You can put this crystal in your salt water and gargle with it and use that, to help relieve pain from your jaw. Right. You can place it on your jaw, just holding it sometimes, different.
That's what I do, is carry it in my pocket.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I've been working with that, so that probably we should do a whole other episode on, like, the actual what they do, what the healing properties are, and how they work. Because also with chakras, like I said, each one of these crystals has a different chakra that it works with. So if you have a chakra that's out of alignment, you can use a crystal to help you put it back into alignment.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So there you have it, Crystals 101, basics. Basics.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, I thought it was a great follow-up with tarot because it's also a psychic tool. Yeah. And tarot is a psychic tool, so kind of put those together.
Yeah, I mean, I wear mine almost every day, and I think I feel some level of, it helps me.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yep.
I
usually, I picked the black tourmaline today. I don't know why. It was just what I was drawn to. I just usually go with what I feel drawn to. I have a selenite necklace that I love, and I wear that one sometimes. It's just whatever you feel like that day, whatever you're drawn to.
Yeah.
Or whatever helps the ailment that you're trying to help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, before we say goodbye, would you like to share your information really fast?
Yes. First of all, though, I want to
I'm sorry.
make sure... No, that's fine, because it is the same thing. people that are looking for us on Facebook for our discussion group. I've heard from a few people that it was hard to find us. So we have a page and a discussion group. And the page is just Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. And the discussion group is Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses discussion group. So if you go to our page, if you can't find the group, if you go to our page, I usually post that link every week when I announce the topic we're going to be doing. I say join our discussion group, and there's a link there. So if you can't find it, then how about email me or message me, and I'll send you the link for it so that you can join us, because this discussion group's getting really good. I love the talks we have in there, and people are really open because it is a group, and so the only people that you're conversing with are the people in the group, and outsiders can't see it. And that makes people feel way more comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So anyways, and then my page is SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. You can find everything there. Or if you'd like to email us at the show, spiritualjoneses@gmail.com.
Very nice.
And then you.
Yes, for my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram and Facebook. And for the music, gypsybrown.com for the web, at Gypsy Brown Music for Instagram, and at Gypsy Brown Band for Facebook.
Yay.
That's it.
Fantastic.
Well, we hope somebody got something out of this.
Yep.
I did.
I learned a lot myself.
Go buy yourself one, carry it around, stuff it in your bra.
Yeah, and send us what you get. Tell us how it works. We love to hear those types of things.
Absolutely.
You know?
Share if you have any experience.
We love it.
Very cool. Well, we hope everybody has a great week.
That we do.
And until next week,
peace and love.